So, okay, tell us, let's talk about the weight of money. Let's talk about some concepts that we can share here that helped you shift your relationship with money and self, and kind of pass it on.
One of the things that really, I think looking at my wealth identity and being a wealthy woman actually is probably the biggest thing, because that really changed how I made every single decision.
Hey, it's Nichole Kellerman-Worth, CEO of WildlyAlive.com, where we help women get on the same team as their bodies so they can feel and look their best. When a woman realizes how badass her body is, she feels alive and is no longer afraid to create the life she's always wanted. I know this to be true because it's happened to me and thousands of our clients. Welcome to the journey of getting on the same team as your body. Okay, here we go. Continuing our conversation about the intersection of money and your body and how interrelated and complex really that is. And today we are featuring a Wildly Alive sister. Her name is Bree. And she has, the reason why I wanted Bree to come on is because her story is really interesting. Well, she jumped into Wildly Alive when we began the weight of money. So she just jumped in for the weight of money. And then, as she will probably share with you, she got in and she realized, and she wanted to strengthen her relationship with money. And then, we started like making things all wildly alive and such, and talking about self and your self-worth and your relationship with yourself and your body. And she was like, whoa. And then you did jump into mastery, right? Yeah. So
I went all in.
Yeah. So you just jumped in for just the weight of money, and then got a little taste of like the full effect of Wildly Alive. And then she was like, yeah, head first. She really did go head first. She did like an extra one-on-one with me as well. And I will tell you that when Bree did the weight of money, we do like a manifestation challenge and we manifest money. She freaking killed it. I don't even know. Like, do you remember how much money you manifested?
I do. I added up this morning. So altogether, once everything was all said and done and the money that I was like expecting to come in, it was about $95,000 total.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
which is amazing. It's crazy to even think of, but yes, it was $95,000.
Right. And it wasn't all cash. Like there was some house stuff, like mortgage and all of that. But really when you took the net worth of it, right. Mm-hmm. Then that ended up being what it was. So it was like having Bree on was like really perfect because she dove in so hardcore, and she went in just for like, I just want to work. I've already been working on my relationship with money, and this is just going to take it to the next level. But it like took it to like a whole next level where we opened up a can of worms that she probably was not expecting when she first signed up. So, okay, tell us a little bit about, Bree prior to Wildly Alive, and then a little bit about like your journey here, because she's getting ready to graduate. She's getting ready to graduate, like, because we're getting ready to start Weight of Money, and that's when you started. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So me prior to Wildly Alive and all that, I was in a really bad marriage. I had decided that it was not for me and that we were going to go our separate ways. So I had probably spent the year prior to that just getting myself in a different mindset, just so that I felt strong enough that I could actually do it. I had signed over, I was selling my ex-husband our home that we lived in. I had already signed the papers on that. So that sale was in progress as the weight of money was starting to approach. So I knew I had that money coming my way, and I really wanted to make sure that I was in a just mental place that I would be able to hold that amount of money and do things responsibly with it, and just keep on going with the money mindset that I'd been working on, and just really realizing that, abundance, and there's things around there, and I can attract money, and I can do these things, and it's out there, and it's actually an option for me. So when I saw the program come up, I'm like, let me just jump in there because I know I have money things coming up for me. And within the first 2 or 3 days of the free program, my eyes were just wide open, because I thought that it was going to be a program, geared toward money, which obviously it was, but I didn't know that it would be looking at me, that it would be me looking at me. And that was eye-opening. I was not expecting that at all. And seeing how the trust that I used to have in myself, the trust that I used to have in the universe prior to the relationship with my ex-husband, just seeing the disconnect, how everything had just disconnected. And I was like, I'm not the person that I was when I was happy, when I was fulfilling, when I had trust, when I had all these things. So it really got me on the journey. And since then, I've been willing to, the further I looked at myself, the further I started doing things outside of my comfort zone. And so, yeah, I was in a bad marriage. I was in a bad place then, but then I started stepping out and I said, no more of that. I started investing in myself more and really, taking pride in myself a little bit more and holding my self-esteem up and my self-worth. And that allowed me to actually move out before the sale finished. I was able to move out of the home. I was able to take on a new job. I got a promotion at work. I was able to, in keeping myself open to great things, because I was so closed off for so long without realizing it. In opening myself up, I attracted new relationships. I have a great love in my life right now. I went on vacations. I took vacations, and I really just invested in myself, my happiness, and in also manifesting. I manifested my perfect dream home with all the views and everything. It checked every single box that I was saying that I was leveling up to. And so my life, since, the weight of money, it's been all about up leveling and just pushing the edge and seeing what else is out there, what else is out there, what else is out there, and just keep expanding.
Yeah. I mean, Bree's story is like, it's almost like, is this for real? Is she telling the truth? Like, really? I mean, honestly, it really is that good.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything works in alignment, and it's a concept that we bring up in the Mentor podcast, where we feature Wildly Alive mentor Mandy. We talk about you go first and the universe responds. And Bree is a really great example of that, she just kept pushing that edge. And what's funny, I have to say about the love thing, is Bree was not like trying to manifest that. Like she was getting out of a toxic marriage. She was kind of like, I'm just going to be alone the rest of my life. I remember talking
Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude was the exact, the vision.
Yeah. She was like, I don't need a man. I don't need any of that. I'm just going to like live in my cabin in the woods and like do my gardening thing and blah, blah, blah. And then she was just really open and magnetic. And a really great, amazing man came into her life that was like, we were voxing, and I was like, he is like almost too good to be true. Like, he is just a dream. Oh my gosh, he's so amazing. Like, stay open to it. And so like doors just continued to open up for Bree. And it wasn't like pure coincidence or luck. Like, she really was in this place of like, I'm going to stay open and I'm going to keep she really just kept investing in herself in such a big, bold, and beautiful way. And her transformation has just been like, your jaw just wants to fall to the ground when you think about, like, if we had an image of like Bree before, and like you could feel her energy and who she was, and like how she felt about herself, versus like this image that you're seeing right now on your screen in her dream home, like looking all fabulous. Like, it's truly incredible. I mean, you have to like kind of lay down at night and just think about it and be like, holy shit.
Well, this morning I was going back through everything, and I saw like all my posts that I have made over the last year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was like, it almost brought me to tears. I was so just blown away by the gravity of the decisions that I was making for myself. Because they are not things I couldn't see myself doing that a year ago. Could not see myself doing that at all. So just step by step, and all the bravery and how much stuff I had to work through to get to that point where I felt comfortable, you know, putting myself first. That was really the biggest shift, is learning to put myself first.
Yeah. And, you know, I really do want to, like, not to overshare at all, but, you know, Bree was in a relationship that broke her down, and she was told things that people shouldn't be told, and didn't make her feel great as a person at all. And just, she was in this place, this low place, but finally kind of like fed up and like, there's got to be something better than this. Like, I'm ready to get out of this, you know, I don't want to listen to this anymore. And there was a little niggle of like, just jump, just go, just do, and don't listen to this voice anymore. And you did. And just like you said, like, there was just a leap and a leap and a leap, and you just kept on leaping, and you just kept on leaping. And you go first, and the universe responded. And, you know, you were bold, and the universe would match that energetically, you know? So it's really, I mean, the amount of self-love that took, when you felt like you had no love for yourself at all, like, it's just really incredible, you know? So, okay, tell us, let's talk about the weight of money. Let's talk about some concepts that we can share here that helped you shift your relationship with money and self, and kind of pass it on.
One of the things that really, I think looking at my wealth identity and being a wealthy woman actually is probably the biggest thing, because that really changed how I made every single decision. Like, my wealthy woman, what would my wealthy woman do? How would she handle this? Because I still do that probably at least once a week, if not more. I'm like, what would my wealthy woman do? What would my wealthy woman do? And just seeing that now I'm reacting to things as a wealthy woman, and I'm making decisions from there, rather than before I was more of a money brat. Like, oh, well, I can't have this and I can't have that. And I have this, you know, was very snotty about money. But just being a wealthy woman and what that really means, and how that changes how I interact with the world around me.
Right. Right. So yeah, as you know, for those of you who are like, have been in the Wildly Alive world for a while, you know that there's a lot of like, we personify things and we separate energies within ourselves. Like, we have Helga, and Helga is like, you know, this self-sabotaging voice and blah, blah, blah. And so something that we do in the Weight of Money is we start to channel and come forward and get clear about our wealth identity, and really naming her as your wealthy woman. Like, how would your wealthy woman tip? How would your wealthy woman handle this particular situation? How would your wealthy woman manage the fact that you really want fresh strawberries, but fresh strawberries are not on sale, right? What would my wealthy woman do? And we're trying to like pull this part of yourself forward and let her lead. And so, yeah, that's a really, really great concept. And so, you know, like a quick story that I can share about this is, I just bought a car, and it was actually a very wealthy woman move. Zach did not come with me, which, you know, I could have a tendency to be a little disempowered in money around him. And, you know, and this happens in relationships, that one person will kind of hold the energy around money and like kind of take care of it all, and the other person gets into a little bit more of a disempowered state. And so I will admit that I have done that. And so the fact that he did not come to the dealership with me, I did take my brother, but I wanted to take my brother from more of like a, you know, like a mechanical standpoint, not like a financial standpoint of like, how is the car running, and, you know, all the things and blah, blah, blah. And so I went there without Zach, and I'm making these bold money moves, and I really had to channel my wealthy woman. And I test drove a car that was like more of like a basic version of it. And it didn't have a sunroof. This was the big thing, is I really wanted a sunroof. I didn't need a sunroof, right? We talk a lot about desire versus need within the weight of money as well. I didn't need a sunroof, but I desired a sunroof. And so I went and I drove it, and I really loved it. I love Mazdas. I like my Mazda. I like love and adore. And so I like called Zach on the way, and he even said to me, which was like a little out of his comfort zone, I think. He was like, well, if you really want a sunroof, why don't you just, get the sunroof? And I was like, yeah, you know what? He's right. If I just want the sunroof, I get the sunroof. So for like a few $1,000s more, I could upgrade and get these few other things like a Bose stereo system and leather seats and the sunroof. I didn't need it, but it was just definitely like kind of working that wealthy woman edge. And like, as we were sitting there and all the paperwork and the numbers were all there and blah, 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 like I definitely felt like, budget Nichole come out and, like, oh no, you don't need that. You could save, blah, blah, blah money if you. And so I remember going out and just taking a breath and looking at a tree, like Wildly Alive is really good about comparing things to plants. This big, huge, thriving tree was like right in front of me. And I was like, okay, like this tree is thriving. This tree is big and audacious and like really like reaching up. And I was like trying to like channel my wealthy woman at that point. It's like, I deserve to flourish. I deserve to grow. I deserve like to have the sunroof, even if I don't necessarily need it. Right. And, I will tell you, like, it was a big, bold, wealthy woman move for me. And these are the conversations that Bree and I have really been talking about a lot as she's been leveling up her life, is like, okay, like, what, like, let's channel your wealthy woman. What would she say here? And it was an edge. I was breathing through signing all that paperwork. But I will tell you, I freaking love my car. Like, every time I get in it, I'm just like,
yes.
Look at me. I mean, it is not a freaking Tesla by anything, but to me, it feels like a Tesla because I love it. Like, it activates wealthy woman when I'm in it, and I drive quite a bit, and I'm just like, oh, yes. So yes, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Do you maybe have a story where you really channeled the wealthy woman and it paid off for you?
Yes. Well, I'm going to go with two of them. I also have a car story. So I have wanted a truck for so long. Like I felt like that was one of the biggest things in terms of like independence, because I love going out and just making random purchases for like, I don't know, big furniture, just from a resale store or something. But it was always very disempowering whenever I'd have to go shopping and I need somebody else, like, oh, can you come pick this up for me? Oh, I want to buy this. And I need, so I've always desired a truck. I always wanted it. So I happened to run into somebody at work who is a car salesman. So we were just talking. I was like, yeah, well, if you ever see a truck, just let me know, because I don't want anything like crazy budget wise, because I know they're so overpriced right now. He's like, well, actually, like I just got one or two of them on the lot yesterday, and they may still be available. So I took it for a test drive. Same thing. As soon as I got in it, like, yes, the exhaust is loud and it like rumbles when you drive it. But as soon as I got in there, I was like driving. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot not get this right now. I cannot not get it. So I bought the truck, and it took me out of my comfort zone, because I was like, I don't really want another car payment right now. And that's not something I want to take on. So I did have to do some work, around it. And actually, when I was about to sign the papers, I'm like, I need to go drive it again. So I did go back and drive it again. And I came back. I'm like, yeah, it's mine. It's mine. So I had got home, and I was kind of just checking things out. And my big thing is, my signs from the universe are coins. Those are my signs from the universe. And so I had got home, and I was just pulling everything out, and I opened a little drawer, or a little, like the cup holder, and it was just full of change, and I was like, yep, I definitely made the right choice. So that was like verification from the universe that, like, yeah, you totally made the right decision. So that was one of my big wealthy woman moves.
Well,
And
yes,
then,
and that, like the sign thing, I'll just say, like, she learned that in The Weight of Money.
yes.
And
Yes.
it has threaded itself all throughout Mastery. And we'll like it within the sisterhood, we'll like, if there's a picture of a coin, I automatically know. I was like, oh, Bree, something, the universe is validating something for Bree right now. And she's like, she's bringing that to our attention and, you know, all the things. So yes, beautiful. Perfect.
Yes. And as I was going through all my posts this morning, I was like, oh, there's another one. And even when I decided to move, make the decision to move out of the house, from my ex-husband, as soon as I got into my storage unit, there was just a penny in the storage unit. I'm like, okay, I'm there. This is where I'm supposed to be. I went on vacation and, found a coin, and I'm like, okay, yes, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I was very scared when I was on vacation by myself, and I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. And, this past week, I've had a really, really tough time at my job, adjusting to, being short staffed and feeling a little taken advantage of and underappreciated. And so I did a lot of work around that. And then the next day I went back feeling better, and I was about to throw a box in the garbage, and lo and behold, there's just a coin sitting in the box. Why there was a coin in a box that I'm about to throw away, I don't know, but it was my sign from the universe that, like, hang on tight. Everything's okay. You've done the work. You're doing the work, and it'll be all good. And later that night, I didn't post it. I did find 2 pennies outside when I was working as well. So I was like, okay, there's something good is going to come out of this terrible, terrible work day that I had. So
yeah, I love it. I mean, it just seems like the overarching theme, I feel like, for this particular episode is wealthy woman. And like, I want everyone listening to like think about that, is, from like an awakening activity, something that you can really marinate on is, where can you start channeling your wealthy woman a little bit and push that edge? We keep talking about that edge. And this is something that, with Bree, she did. And she would definitely be voxing me at some points and be like, like, even like she bought with buying her house, like it wasn't like a perfect, smooth, everything is aligning so beautifully, perfectly. There was things that were coming up when she was buying this house that was like definitely challenging her. And we were having a lot of conversations around that. And, like I remember we had a call, and she was like in her hammock in like the front of her house, and like beautiful views. Like it's going to give her the life that she really wants. She loves to garden, all the things. And it was like a lot of this validation of like working through those edges. And like edges, meaning, if that's confusing to you, is like where you feel triggered, you feel like there's these 2 parts of yourselves. Like you think of a line, there's the part of yourself that would just want to stay safe, and then there's this part of yourself that wants to grow and expand. That's the edge, right? That's the line. And she just kept pushing that line. And something that helped her continue to push past that line is channeling her wealthy woman. And so just thinking about for yourself, where can I start doing that? What would be this, and, like when we talk with Mandy, we talk about faith and, trust, and that's still being interwoven here as well, is like, sometimes it doesn't logically make sense, and sometimes all on paper, it's like, there is a level of like, but something here, there is something that's pulling me. And I know that if I want to be somebody who, like, even like, if I want to be somebody who buys more fresh fruits and vegetables, or organic, if that calls to you too, like, if you want to be that person and that's a vision of yourself, you've got to show up, and take a breath and, work through the triggers and the fears and like the faith and the sign, like creating like a little money sign. Yeah, that's something that we do in The Weight of Money, is like, what's your money sign? because that can help validate, just like you were saying, validate the trust in the process, because it doesn't always show up right away.
Yes, because that's the biggest thing in terms of money. I saw how much the trust that I had in money being there for me had broken down. But once I started opening up and just really regaining that trust, not all in money, but in myself, I was able to trust in myself and trust that the money is going to be there, and trust that if I didn't hold like a death grip on the things that I have, if I let go of that, it invites more things into me. Cause I was very much like, this is what I have. This is all I have. And this is all I'm going to have. But when I was able to let it go, like, okay, well, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to have. And then it just left me open to receive so much more. And that's really, I feel like the biggest shift in me is that I was able to let go of the things that I did have, because now it has been just completely replenished with even better things.
So many good things.
Yes. So much letting go. Even the stuff that I thought was so, near and dear to my heart. And I was like, no, I can never let that go. But I'm like, okay, I think it's time. Time.
So you're talking a lot about like the circulation.
Yes.
And we talk about that in the class a lot, is this, it needs to be the circulation of giving and receiving and giving and receiving, and trusting and letting go of some money. So then you can trust that more money is coming back.
Yes.
Gosh, that's, yeah. So many good, like, nuggets of wisdom, not only here in the podcast, but within the Weight of Money. I'm telling you, it is such a great class. It's not saying much coming from me, the creator of it, but it is like the things that came through in that class, things that I didn't even necessarily like plan on paper on talking about, they just started like channeling through me. And I'm like, whoa, like this is really, really good. And really has you thinking about money in a way that, just like you said, in a way that you don't initially think, because it's not like a budget program. We're not like budgeting. We are, because
really, we orient with money every single day, so every day I feel like I'm putting some sort of concept or some sort of shift in thinking into my day, whether it be like, okay, well, today I have to go grocery shopping, and what am I doing here? What am I doing there? When I'm making choices at the store, when I'm making choices in how I'm purchasing, even like now I Instacart, and I wouldn't do that before because it's going to cost me $10 extra to have food delivered to my house. But now I'm like, $10, heck yeah, take it all, because now I have all this time and I have all this other stuff, and it just makes me feel so good that, I can put that towards myself, and I can spend that $10, but I just gained myself 2 hours of whatever I want it to be. So, so many different, every day, it changes the way that I orient with everything.
Right. And like, you're just really speaking to like investing in things that are going to make you feel good. Like at face value, it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't need to do the Instacart thing, like $1 saved is $1 earned, and $10, I can just go to the store and blah, blah, blah. And it's fine. It's not a big deal. But when you really think about it and you're like, oh, like I've done that, of like time myself, how long it takes me the minute I leave my house to the minute I get back from a grocery store run, like it could take me upwards of 2 hours, especially if I have Wyatt. And it's like, gosh, if 2 hours of my time is not worth $10, like we all have conversation about that, right? Like this is we got to really think about this. And it's like, what can I do in those 2 hours? Like I can relax, I can paint my toenails. And again, like this is where the resistance comes in, because it's like the hustler, and then I can work and go and do like relaxing is for lazy people, and you're not, like reading a book, what is that going to do for the world? Like what is that going to do? It's, like these are the conversations that you need to start opening up for yourself, of like, this is about investing in time in yourself, let alone the $10, right? And now we're talking about, you got 2 hours, you have 2 extra hours. Are you just gonna like get to work on some emails? Or can you draw yourself a bath? At least draw yourself a bath and take a bath for an hour and then get to work on some emails, you know, like really weaving in that self-care with the conversation with money is just, it is so, so powerful. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Bree. Like, you really are an inspiration. You inspire me for sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any last words? Any last things that you want to share?
By far, jumping into Wildly Alive and Mastery is the best decision I've ever made for myself. Ever, 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 ever. I can't say enough evers. Such a big investment, and just it's completely changed the trajectory of my life, you know, just in that 1 year, and it's just going to keep going and going and going.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. So, all right. Thank you all for tuning in. And as usual, when in doubt, ask your body. Bye. Heck yes to the wealthy woman concept. So good. So if you'd like to continue watching or listening to this podcast, you can go to sameteampodcast.com, where you will meet Wildly Alive mentor Mandy, who did a lot of work around her self-worth, investing in herself, and her relationship with money that feels almost like night and day. Wait till you hear how she felt about herself around money before she joined Wildly Alive, and now how she is where she's at now. It's pretty amazing. And as usual, if you are digging this, please share. There are some buttons around this video or audio. Please share it with somebody who you know will resonate with. That would mean the world. And we are starting the Weight of Money class for this month. If you'd like to jump in with us and manifest some money, you could go to wildlyalive.com/111, and it's going to be so good. We're going to manifest some money. We're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh. We're going to celebrate. We're going to channel our wealthy woman.